Hey guys, hope you're all having a good day. Today I just wanted to do a quick video on the Lexmoto LXR, which is the bike that I've been using for the past few months. I think I've had it for about 6 months now. And I just wanted to share my experience as a new rider and yeah, just share sort of what that's been like for me and maybe help you guys make a choice on what bike you're going to end up picking up. So, for a little bit of backstory, so I got my CVT maybe, yeah, I'd say about 6 months ago. It's my first bike. And yeah, so obviously from your CVT, you've got to go onto a 125. And I ended up choosing this one. So I picked this up second hand. And I picked it up for about £2,000, which wasn't too bad. I think that was a good deal. It was in good condition. So yeah, I'm going to put the specs up for you so you can look for yourself, because it's not really something that I'm going to talk a lot about in this video. I just don't think it really matters that much compared to just sort of the general experience you have with it, especially for a 125. You know, if you're looking at getting a litre bike or something serious, then yeah, the specs will matter, sure, but yeah, I don't think that's necessarily the case on a 125. Okay, so first let's talk about the engine on this. So the top speed that this bike will put out is 69 miles per hour. At least that's what it says on the Lexmoto website. In my experience, it can definitely go faster, especially if you're going down a hill. But that being said, it sort of depends on how much you trust the speedo on this thing, which it could be questionable. I don't know. I'm not going to speak on that really, but yeah, I've definitely sort of been able to do a bit more than that. So what is going on here? Someone's in trouble. Oh, ooh, somebody's in trouble. Oh shit. Well, that sucks. As I was saying, it will do 69 miles per hour, and let's just take it as that. So that's really plenty of speed on a 125. I mean, when you're learning, you can't go on the motorway. So this is more directed towards learners that would be getting this bike. Any more than 69 miles per hour really isn't necessary, especially for a learner. I think this bike will not really sit comfortably above 60. You can do it, but it's really not comfortable. So if you're going to be riding for, a prolonged period of time, then, along like dual carriageways and stuff like that, then I wouldn't really suggest this bike. Although that being said, I probably wouldn't really suggest a motorbike for that, especially sort of when you're CVT. Maybe if you can get one and then get your license, sort of work towards your license as well, so you can get a bigger bike, then yeah, cool. But honestly, 125s are not really good for long commutes and stuff like that. But obviously, if it's your only option, then a 125 will do it, and so will this bike. This isn't actually the way I wanted to go, I just realised. So, yeah, I'll probably turn around at some point. Why have I gone this way? That's alright, we're just going on a little trip. Doesn't matter. There's bikes like the Yamaha YZF-R 125, and they're actually really good bikes, but they'll do sort of 80 miles an hour, about that, which is nice to have that little bit of extra speed, but it's not really, I don't know, it's not really that necessary on a 125. Maybe, as I say, if you're commuting and you need to go on dual carriageways and such, or maybe if you price your chest and going on motorways, that might be a little bit better, but yeah, I mean, sports bikes aren't overly comfortable for that sort of trip anyway. So in terms of the power, it puts out, I think it's 9.3 kilowatts, which is on the lower end, because I believe it's 11 kilowatts, which is the limit for 125s for people on their CVT. So yeah, it's definitely on the lower end compared to a lot of other bikes that really hit that limit. But again, it's not really that important. Um, I wouldn't say it is. There are times here and there where I'd like to have a little bit of extra sort of oomph, but it's rare that I need that really. If I haven't got it out, there's me going onto the bypass a little bit earlier in the video, and yeah, it's sort of in situations like those where you want a little bit more power so you can speed up a bit quicker. But yeah, it's not the end of the world, as I say. Yeah, in terms of the brakes on this bike, they're actually brilliant. They've got massive brake discs and you've got combined braking on them, so yeah, the braking is excellent on this bike. And yeah, that's all there is to say really about that. I haven't had any issues with it. However, tyres are really not brilliant. And it's not really anything that I've experienced myself, but I've seen that so many people talk about how bad the tyres are on these. So, bike that you're planning on having for a long time, then I would maybe consider changing the tyres. So, yeah, that is definitely. I mean, these are just sort of standard Chinese tyres that come right out of the factory. So, yeah, I wouldn't be too trusting in them. Not that you can go that fast on it anyway, really, to test them, but okay, as I say, I don't want to go too in depth with the specs on this thing. That's not really the point of the video. So, let's talk about the experience a little bit more, and my experience. To be clear, I've really enjoyed it actually. Yeah, it's been a brilliant bike, especially for a first bike so far. To talk about the reliability of it, that's something that a lot of people have questions about. And by all accounts, it's a little bit hit and miss really. And it sort of depends on the unit. Although that is sort of the case with a lot of 125s, a lot of bikes generally. You might have one that has loads of problems. You might have one that has absolutely no problems. With mine personally, it didn't have any problems from the previous owner. They'd only ridden it for about 800 miles, so pretty much just ridden it in, and it had no issues. And then the day that I got it, the lander broke, so that was a bit of a pain. So that was like 200 quid to replace. But as I say, considering the bike was about £2 grand, that's still not bad at all. That was okay. I was fine with doing that. Other than that, zero reliability issues whatsoever. It's been a great bike. When I went into the garage to actually replace the lander, I spoke to a man in there who was just bringing out a Yamaha YZF R125, and he was basically just saying that they're getting so many of these bikes in now because the quality of the Japanese bikes and the European bikes are actually going down, especially in the 125 range, whereas the Chinese bikes are actually getting sort of better quality really. So he's saying that it's starting to even out a little bit now, which is quite interesting. Probably skip traffic. I'm too busy talking. I just haven't bothered to skip any of the traffic. When it comes to the reliability, one thing that I've heard is a real factor is the rain. So if this bike gets wet, especially in the ignition barrel, it causes a lot of issues. So I've heard. Oh shit! There's another one. Oh, there's another one my colour as well. That's lit. I want to say hi to him. I'm gonna have to go that way now. Oh shit. Okay. So that actually brings me on to quite interesting point, which is how popular these bikes have been. I mean, there's so many of these going around now. They're super popular. So I think as Lexmoto begin to really expand, the quality of these bikes is just going to get better and better. And honestly, the price hasn't gone up that much. I mean, you could get these bikes a while ago for sort of, I think it's just over £2 grand, and now it's just over £3 grand. So it has gone up a little bit in price. Well, I say a little, that's quite a bit in price, but also the quality has apparently gone up a lot, so it's sort of okay. So in terms of the price point, it was interesting because I was looking at a lot of bikes on Auto Trader when I was looking at getting a bike, and it's really weird actually. These came up sort of as the cheapest 125s you can get, really, um, which was really interesting to me. Because obviously they're quite good looking bikes and there's not really that many issues with them compared to a lot of Chinese bikes especially. So I do find that really odd. And yeah, these are sort of the cheapest things on the market and they're just brilliant really. I have absolutely zero regrets at all picking up this bike. So it sounds actually surprisingly good. It's got a decent stock exhaust on it, so that's nice. You can get slip-on exhaust for it, and obviously make it sound even better, which is cool. I haven't done that personally because I don't intend on keeping this bike for that long. That leads me on nicely to the next part of this, which is talking about the community a little bit and my experience with that. So obviously I've not been involved in it too long, but the community has been brilliant. I mean, I'm on quite a few Facebook groups that talk about it and talk about sort of modding their bike and things like that, and everyone's extremely helpful. And there's a lot of people involved really. So if I've ever got any questions about my bike, which I've had a couple of times, and people have just helped me fix any issues or anything like that. So now I'm going to do sort of a overall sort of positives and negatives about the bike. I would say positive price. So as I mentioned, the price is pretty unheard of for what it is. I haven't seen another bike priced like this for what it is and the quality that you get. The next positive is how it looks. I'd say this bike just looks pretty mean. It's a great looking bike, it really is. They've done an amazing job in designing it. It looks fantastic, so no complaints with that. It also turns quite a lot of heads, I think. The next positive, and this is going to sound a bit weird, but it's the weight of the bike. So it's actually on the heavier side by quite a bit for a 125. There aren't many 125s that will get that weigh this much. But that can actually be a positive for a beginner. I think it is for me, because I'm someone that's looking to sort of get a new bike in the near future. And I'm looking to upgrade to sort of a 600 or something like that. I sort of want to get used to the weight of this bike, really, because this, I would say, is slightly lighter than some of the sort of 400s you'll get. So I feel like in terms of the weight, at least, it won't be a big shocker to me when I do upgrade my bike. So it just sort of feels like a bigger bike, which is nice. So the next pro for this bike will be fuel consumption. I'll have to check the number again. I'll put it up on the screen for what it is, because I've forgotten. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, it's pretty good. I think it was a little worse than was stated on the website in my experience. But it's still good. It sort of takes me either half an hour trip into college every day. So I need to fill up every week, really, which is fine. You know, I'm going in 5 times a day, half an hour trip both ways. So yeah, definitely no complaints with that. My next pro for this bike would be the warranty. So it comes with a 2-year warranty. And it's now just become transferable as well. So if you get it second hand, as long as there's still time left on it, you'll basically inherit that warranty, which is really nice. And that's what I've got. So that's cool. Happy with that. Although I have heard that the service might not be brilliant with those warranties. And sort of they'll do a lot of things to try and get around it, which and I haven't had that from my experience, in all fairness. So now on the negative side for this bike, I would say the build quality is okay. You know, it's fine. Like it's not brilliant. yeah, everything feels quite plasticky and stuff, and you can definitely feel the difference between this and one of the bigger Japanese brands. Um, but it's really not bad, and it's come a long way since its first iteration. So I would say if build quality is super important to you on a bike, then yeah, this one's sort of, as I say, it's all right. It's not brilliant. Okay, another con for this bike is the lights, and this is a really weird one, but the lights appear to be really dim. I don't know if that's something that I haven't worked out. Apparently there's a little screw at the back that you can um, sort of twist, and then it will sort of raise and lower the lights, which helps. But yeah, the lights are super dim, like really dim. As in, I can't see shit at night. Which is a bit scary. I don't really like riding this bike at night too much because, yeah, I literally can't see anything more than a couple of meters ahead of me. You can replace the lights. I've seen people do that. Again, you can look on the communities to get help for stuff like that. The next thing on this bike that I would consider a con is, obviously I've talked about the speed of the bike. It's not very quick. Sometimes you just sort of want a little bit more power here and there when you need to accelerate quickly and stuff like that. It's a little bit rough, but and if you're going to be on it for extended periods of time on motorways and things like that, then you are definitely going to want something with a bit more power. It's a shame that they sort of left it at 9 kilowatts for this. I feel like it could have really benefited from a little bit more, getting a bit closer to that limit. Okay, so the next thing is the reliability of the bike in the wet specifically, because I haven't had any issues with it at all, apart from the lambda. And a lot of people have said that they haven't had issues with it, and but most of the time when they have had an issue with it, it's in the wet. So if you're going to be riding your bike sort of into work every day or something like that, and really relying on the bike, then I either wouldn't get this bike because if you need to go out in the wet, it might break, or just make sure you bring your cover and sort of hope that will help. Although it's a bit of a pain having to bring your cover everywhere, but I've done it. It's not that bad. That really covers the sort of overview of what I like and don't like about this bike. And props to Lexmoto for really improving this bike over the last few years. So an important question to sort of end this video on is, would I recommend it to a learner as a first bike? And the answer is yes, I would, but it does depend on your circumstances. So if you really have to rely on this bike to get you everywhere, and you're going to be putting a lot of miles on it, I would consider cashing out for a more expensive sort of Japanese motorbike. Or if you really want a sports bike, I would say go for the YZF-R or the Suzuki GSX-R, which one of my mates has. It's actually a really nice bike. I don't know if you'll let me review it at some point. That would be cool. But yeah, I'd say if it's something you're really relying on, I obviously would not get this bike, and I'd get a more expensive one. And something that is definitely not going to break down on you in the wet or anything like that. For me specifically, it's absolutely perfect. I have a car, so I don't rely on this bike, really. I use it to get into college, because that means I can park for free, which is really nice. And otherwise I've got to get the train, really, because bringing my car into college isn't really an option. So, yeah, I don't really rely on it. And I only really take it out when it's sunny. I don't need it if it's wet. And then when I do, I'll bring out a cover and it's fine. So, yeah, and it's a lot of fun just to take out on a day like this and just ride around, have a good time on, really. But yeah, if you own an LXR, please comment with sort of your experience with it and if you like the bike or not. And if you're looking at getting one or just looking at getting your first bike, I hope that this video has sort of helped to guide that decision a little bit. And you've got sort of a bit more to go off. So with that said, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to end the video here. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.